computer system, and then data is being generated and data is being circulated, and it is also being used for various purpose like research. Then even they have knowledge management there. Then they have uh, how they will use this knowledge management in various fields. What would be the purpose of these knowledge managements in various fields?
Okay. I think you have some idea about the biometrics.
Little bit of ideas, sir. I've not touched that thing, but I've heard about biometrics and how they use those datas, and how they uh, generate many findings based on that. Like from company to companies, they will study what was the statistics of those hospitals, and how this hospital becomes better than other hospital. Or they will also find out how one disease condition is prevalent in one place and it is prevailing in another place. So these all things they do, sir.
Okay,
I'm
you
not
have
gone in detail.
okay, Varsha, you have Aadhaar card.
Yes, sir, I've got Aadhaar card.
In the Aadhaar card, there is biometric.
Biometrics, yes.
So, so you know it, whole India.
Yes.
All the people, they have clear idea about what is called the biometrics.
Hmm.
Now, when we are talking about the psychoinformatics, then we find interdisciplinary approach. Okay, so psycho means psychology, and informatics includes information science and statistics. Okay, and the data nature will be the psychological data. For example, many people are regularly coming to the hospital with different sorts of complaints. And if we can develop the model out of these complaints, then how can we develop the model? Suppose one asks you, that is okay, you are the in charge of this hospital, you have clear idea about the different patients and their complaints. So can you tell me, that is, which type of patients are coming to this hospital? Then how can you tell it? What will be your assumption? Anjali, Shati, Varsha, any idea?
Sir, about a disease condition, if somebody is asking, suppose it depends on what the person is searching for. Suppose a patient is coming and asking, so the knowledge would be based on how it will improve to that person, or how it will benefit to that person. Suppose somebody with mm, a hospital administrator wants to find out, suppose the about some disease condition, so he will have a different perspective to it. So this would be given based on maybe comparison with other places, other areas, and then telling that this disease is like this.
Okay, that means you are basically classifying
Hmm.
the patients. Okay, based upon certain disease.
Hmm.
Okay. And each disease can be coded 1, 2,
Mm-hmm.
3, 4, 5.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And after that, you are trying to find out that is the prevalence of the category of disease.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. For example, in case of the outdoor patient, you will find a lot of the cases suffering from anxiety disorder, depression. Okay. Maybe sometimes you will find also the conversion reaction or somatic disorder. Maybe sometimes. But if you study the patient category inside the hospital or inside the hospital, then you will find the patients are usually suffering from schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, okay, paranoid. So now can you classify these two categories of people? One category is the outdoor category of patient. Another is the indoor category of patient. Can you classify them?
Sir, under indoor category, we will see how many patients are having schizophrenia. I mean, how many people have reported with schizophrenia and paranoia, and are are admitted or required admission. And under outdoor category, we can again put it up as schizophrenia and paranoia, and see how much have reported.
Yeah, so I have already told you that is the majority patients in the indoor. They are suffering from schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, major depressive disorder. Okay. And the patients who are coming to the outdoor, usually they are anxiety disorder, somatic disorder, and sometimes obsessive disorder also. So now can you classify these two categories of patients who are coming to the indoor and who are coming to the outdoor?
Sir, maybe the inpatients are showing more impairment, and they need a um, they need a 24/7 supportive care.
Yeah, very good. Any other classification?
So severity of diseases is more when they are inpatient, and severity of disease is less when they are outdoor.
Yeah. Any other classification? From the clinical point of view?
Sir, prognosis maybe.
Not the prognosis. Any other?
The treatment procedure?
Definitely, treatment procedure will vary. But any other classification, psychiatric classification between the two categories of people?
Sir, anxiety, somatic, OCD, though they all come under different chapters in the DSM-5 TR now, but they belong to the same family of disorders, maybe anxiety and
No, not
like-
exactly the family, but the difference of psychosis and neurosis.
Correct, correct,
okay, yeah.
correct. Okay. So that is the model. That means the data are coming randomly, and we have no control over the data. So we cannot control the patient here. Patients are coming with different types of complaints. We do not have any control over the complaints of the patient. So data are coming, and the nature of the data is random. The data not systematic. So when the data is not systematic, during that time, we cannot follow the hypothesis. Okay, this is clear.
Yes,
When
sir.
the data will be systematic in nature, then we can make hypothesis. But when the data is not systematic in nature, data itself random data, number one, and number two, researcher has no control over the data. So when you administer the questionnaire or when you administer any psychological test or instrument, that means you are controlling the response pattern. You are controlling also the laboratory environment. But when you do not have any control, okay, then it becomes very difficult for you for prediction. Why is it difficult?
Sir,
So, yes,
when data is not under our control, we might receive everything, sir, and then uh, means everything would be there, and the amount of the number of uh, data which we'll get for each category we want to study may not be very much. That might affect, that
yeah,
might.
so we cannot make any directly score, right?
Yes, like if
But,
suppose we want to do something study, so we have categorized it into two things. We'll focus onto that and we'll collect number of data based on that only.
okay,
But
so
here,
that
here
means,
we will not be doing that part. We cannot do that part here.
correct. So when we are dealing with the educational setup also. So many students are coming from different socioeconomic status. You do not have any control. Maybe it is a government school. Okay, you do not have any control. Students are coming from different ACS group, and that is random. In Facebook, whenever you want to assess some sentiment related to some issues, For example, recently there is landslide. Okay. And many people are still surviving in the tunnel. The situation is very bad. And you want to find out the sentiment related to this particular issue. So in Facebook, you are writing your opinion, and after that, you will get maybe 1,000 comments. And based upon these 1,000 comments, you are trying to analyze the sentiment of the people. Okay. So these comments are coming randomly. Maybe you have no previous relation with any commentator. Nothing. Or you have posted one comment in the Twitter or in any blog. And you are getting some sentiments. And you are trying to analyze the sentiments. So these comments or these data, are they continuous data or they are discrete data? Naresh Babu already taught you different types of data. So whether this data is a continuous data, metric data, or it is a discrete data. This is discrete data. Okay. This data is not the metric data. It is a discrete data. Now the question is, as a psychologist, it is your function to analyze the sentiment of the people with whom you have no interaction. You have no relation. But you are getting their comments. Now it is your function to analyze their sentiments. So how you will analyze? So initially the data are coming to the Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or any other things are there. Okay, so data are coming and those data are stored. When the data are stored, and you are not able to change the data. And that data is a real-time data. So that storehouse is called data reservoir. Is it clear to all of you?
Yes, sir.
So Facebook is data reservoir. Google is data reservoir. For your research, you are searching some topic, maybe the writing motivation. And Google has many data, huge data, trillion data. And you are writing one algorithm. The text is writing motivation. And Google will give you maybe 5,000 researches on writing motivation. Okay. What does it mean? You are making the data pond. So initially data reservoir is there. After that, data pond. Okay. And now your purpose is to study the writing motivation of primary school children. So then you are writing in the Google search engine that writing motivation of primary school children. Okay. Then Google will clean the data. So out of 5,000, possibly you will get 50 researches that is related to the writing motivation of primary school children. So this is called the data cleaning. Okay. And this writing motivation is psychological data. And after that, you are trying to mine the data. Okay. How do you mine the data? Because now you have 50 data, 50 researches, and each research you will get the author's name, year, the sample, the method, the result, and other things. Okay. And again, you will find the address also. That is whether this study conducted in US or conducted in European country or India or any other place. You will get this information also. And now you are mining the data by using some statistical tools. And which statistical tools you will use, that depends upon whether your data fulfilled the assumption of that particular statistics. Okay. And you are doing the cluster analysis. Because your data is multivariate in nature, so therefore you are doing the cluster analysis. And based upon the cluster analysis, you will find the dendrogram. Dendrogram means it's a graphical distribution where you can find out the distance between the variables. And based upon the dendrogram, you are able to find out the two patterns. One pattern is the intrinsic motivation, another pattern is extrinsic motivation. Suppose you have this type of classification. Okay. So that is your discovery of knowledge. That means this is not following any hypothesis. It is following the data mining. So this is the data-driven approach. Psychoinformatics is psychological data-driven approach. It is not hypothesis-driven approach. So if it is hypothesis-driven approach, then our function will be to design the research methods following the hypothesis. We will select the statistics following the hypothesis. We will consider the sampling following hypothesis. We will explain the results and discussion, everything, following our hypothesis. Okay. That means we are totally guided by the hypothesis. And hypothesis is possible when data is systematic in nature. When you have the control over the response. And data nature will be systematic. Then you can follow the hypothesis. Okay. Do you have any idea about the computer adaptive testing?
No, sir.
Achha, computer adaptive testing and computer aided testing. Any idea about the computer aided testing? Anjali? Shati, Monalisha? Computer aided psychological testing?
Sir, if we are using some computers to administer these tests and then gather the data, it could be computer aided testing.
Correct. Suppose you are trying to find out the verbal reasoning of your students. Okay. And you are administering the test material systematically, same test material systematically to all the students through the computer. Then it will be the computer aided verbal reasoning testing. Okay. But when computer will assign the item or the question based upon the performance level of the student or of the candidate, then same question will not be administered to all the students. Each student will be exposed to the different type of questions. Okay. That means computer, by using the machine learning, the artificial intelligence, computer will understand the ability level of the student. Okay. And based upon student ability, computer will administer the question. Then it will be called as the computer adaptive testing. This is clear? Or if you have any question, you can ask me.
Sir, what is the use of computer adaptive testing and computer aided testing? What would be the criteria for deciding which one to choose?
Now, in some situation where you have to collect the data or you have to finish the psychometric testing with a very short time. Okay. Then you can follow the computer adaptive testing. And particularly, in computer aided testing, you have the set of items. Maybe you have the 20 items for assessing the verbal reasoning. But in computer adaptive testing, you should have more than 100 items or the questions in the computer with the level of item difficulty. Okay. So initially, computer will administer the item which is not very difficult to you. Maybe that difficulty level is 10. And if you cannot solve the problem, then computer will assign relatively less difficulty. Maybe that item difficulty level is 5. Okay. And if computer will find out, that is, you are able to solve the item having difficulty level 5, but not 10, then computer will administer you the item difficulty level 15. And you are not able to solve the problem of 15. Okay, that means your score will be 5. So your level is difficulty level with 5. So this will help the students to be free from all sorts of tension, because computer, by using the machine intelligence, computer will administer the question to you based upon your difficulty level. Sometimes students are puzzled looking at the question having higher level of difficulty. Okay. So that will not be issue if we follow the computer adaptive approach. And when you follow the computer adaptive approach, that means your data are random. Then you cannot do the traditional statistical analysis. Then you have to follow the principle of psychoinformatics. Because your data are random. I have published one research paper in the JIAP long back on computer adaptive training program. And there I have followed the psychoinformatics approach. So whatever I have taught, is it clear to you or any question? Okay. So what are the stages of psychoinformatics? First stage is data reservoir. Okay. Second,
Data pond, sir.
data pond. Sometimes people are using data lake. Data pond. After that,
Data cleaning, sir.
data cleaning. Correct. Data cleaning. Next is
Data mining.
data mining using relevant statistics. Next is
Computer aided testing or computer adaptive testing.
next is pattern recognition. Pattern recognition. I have told you na dendrogram.
Yes.
So this dendrogram gives you the pattern. So that is called the pattern recognition.
It is T or D, sir? Dendrogram or tendogram?
Dendo. T for Delhi. Dendrogram. So dendrogram will provide you the pattern. And based upon that pattern, you can discover the knowledge. Next will be the discovery of knowledge. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
But if it is hypothesis-driven approach, then what will be the stage?
Sir, repeat the question.
If it is hypothesis-driven approach, then what will be the step?
If it is hypothesis driven approach, then
Then
we'll
we
first have a hypothesis.
Yes,
Yes.
Shati is telling something. Shati, okay.
So I was just answering that we would follow a more traditional approach. We design the research methodology and what statistics to use, go the traditional way. That is the hypothesis driven approach.
Yeah, so initially we have to do the literature review.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Next will be the forming hypothesis. And next will be sampling. Next will be the data collection. Then results and discussion following the hypothesis. So your sampling will be based upon the hypothesis. Your data collection will be based upon the hypothesis. Your statistical analysis that will be based upon the hypothesis. But here, you have only the data. You do not have any predetermined knowledge. You do not have anything. You have only observed data. Okay. And finally, you will be able to discover the knowledge. So there is no hypothesis. You are analyzing the sentiment of the people. And the interesting point is, in case of the hypothesis-driven approach, you are exploring why. But in case of the data-driven approach, you are giving importance on the pattern. How many people and whether the responses can be classified into the different categories or not. So this is the limitation of psychoinformatics. For example, in verbal reasoning test, you are administering verbal reasoning as well as the intelligence level or academic achievement. And you find some correlation between the intelligence and verbal reasoning. So you can tell, okay, maybe the intelligence is the determinant for your verbal reasoning, or academic achievement may be the determinant of your verbal reasoning. But this is not the issue in case of the psychoinformatics. Okay. Now I am requesting Farah to share the file, the PPT.
Yes, sir.
Hello, Farah, can you share the PPT?
Yes, sir. Sir, can you please make me host?
Yeah, you are the host.
Okay, sir. 1 second. Okay. Student, can you see the slides?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So first, there are two philosophies. First is hypothesis. Second is data driven, like I told you. And then this is influenced by Plato and Aristotle. Then these are some of the examples of hypothesis driven research and non hypothesis driven research.
Farah, you show the data visualization.
Okay,
Then
sir.
it will be easy for them.
Okay. So the last slide, na? This your coding one, right? This one.
Yeah, yeah. Now, dear students, please you follow. Here I have received the complaints, okay, from the patients who are regularly coming to some postgraduate hospital in Kolkata. And all the complaints, they are coded. So can you show the coding?
Yes, sir.
Now
So
coding
this
is,
is
I think another coding is there.
the coding is one six. So here is the coding, sir. Classification.
Okay, right. So here you can find out that two types of coding are there. One side is the classification, another is the complaints. So for example, somatic concern, I have given 1. Anxiety is 2. Like that, I am giving some of the codes for all the complaints, as well as I am giving the codes to all the classification. What happens?
Oh.
Do not change. Huh?
Yes.
Okay. For example, here you can find out the complaints anxiety disorder, that is 1. Okay. So I am giving the codes to all the classified disorders as well as the complaints. After that, I have done the correspondence analysis. So this correspondence analysis has provided me the knowledge that there are some complaints which is very close to the schizophrenia. And there are some complaints which are very close to the bipolar disorder. And there are some complaints which very close to the anxiety. And there are some complaints which are very close to the depression. And the most interesting part is, in India, you will find some people, they are the maybe some sadhus. Okay. And they are reporting some of their experiences, and common people are thinking that they are not normal. They are abnormal. Therefore, these people are also close to the depression. But actually, this is the feature which is very much close to the psychotic pattern, psychotic group. And this complaint that is also close to the neurotic group. So what we have understood, that is, there is a misclassification of some psychiatric complaints. Okay. And here we do not find any misclassification. That means the doctors, they have diagnosed the patient properly. But in this type of complaint, doctors will not be able to diagnose the patient properly. So this model follows the psychoinformatics approach. Okay, so there is no hypothesis. It is only the data reservoir. Many data came to me and I have done this analysis. So this is the classification of the complaint as well as classification of the classified disorder. Now you can find out that this is the psychotic depression. What happened? Farah, show me the graph. Hello, Farah, please show me the graph. I think Farah has some technical problem. Don't worry, we will give you this PPT, so you will be able to understand. Yeah, now here you can find out the PSY-DEP, that is psychotic depression. Okay. And this psychotic depression schizophrenia, and this is the bipolar disorder. So we can find out the classification. So they are not overlapping with each other. They are differentiated. But only one complaint, which is very much psychotic in nature, but that complaint is treated in case of the neurotic depression. Okay. So that is the knowledge that we can get. Therefore, we can tell that is the DSM type of psychiatric classification may be important in India based upon our psychiatric disorders. Mexico, China, they have their own nosology. but India does not have any specific nosology. India is following DSM or ICD. Therefore, there is a chance for misclassification of psychiatric disorder. So this is my observation in my study. So this is the discovery of knowledge. So initially, I do not have any hypothesis. I have only the data. And this data is the historical data. Okay. Because I collected only the prescription of doctor's prescription. And based upon that, I have done this analysis following the coding. Is it clear to all of you? Or any question? Similar type of study I have done many, where this is one type. So this is clear to all of you. What is psychoinformatics and what are the steps of psychoinformatics? Okay, I think it is clear to all of you. Thank you. So now I want to close the session. In the next class, I will show you the analysis part.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. My
Thank you,
best
sir.
wishes to all of you. Good night.